guys, welcome to Ouch My Money. Ouch My Money. Today we are going to talk about something very interesting. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But how are you guys doing in the heightened alert? I don't even know what is it called now. Whatever lah, super heightened alert. Heightened alert V2. Heightened alert V1.5. Hello, Chunho.
Hello.
What is it called now? Forgot.
It's phase 2 heightened alert.
Phase 2 heightened alert, people. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Drop us a hi or comments below if you are watching this. Tell us how you guys are faring. It's really good to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Who's next? Who next? Oh, the stirrer. That sounds very wrong. It's like the, we always say the shit stirrer.
Yeah, the shit stirrer, basically.
That one is not. That one's not stirring. That is lasso. Who is lassoing? Oh goodness me! What? That sounds very inappropriate. We want a large steak. Okay. Hi Desmond. How are you? You're doing good also. I think as good as I can expect lah. Hi Rachel.
Hello.
We were just talking bad things about Desmond behind his back, and he's here now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the first one. He's the first one here, I think. Hi Desmond.
Yeah, I know. We were saying
for a very long life. With long
he's going to have a very long life. Did your ears itch just now, Desmond, when we were talking things about you behind your back? Okay, while waiting for Desmond to reply, whoever else is here, say hi. Okay, just now I was going to say that we are going to talk about something quite interesting today, or at least I find it quite interesting because we've always talked about whether money can actually buy us happiness or not, right? And a lot of the time the consensus was no, but maybe the consensus is not well tested. I don't know, because we had a viewer who shared an article with us, and we found it really interesting. So that's what we're going to talk about it tonight. The article, Rachel is going to paste it in the comments, the link. And then if you guys want, you can go and read it later. But our dear in-house info connector/collector, is that right? That's right, actually. It's going to give us a summary of what is the article talking about. Key points.
Okay.
Bullet style.
Okay. Are you talking about me?
Yeah lah, Chunho. Who else?
Okay, so the word is data collector, junk collector, info collector, whatever it is you call it, the karang-kuri, the karang-kuri or information. So anyway, yes, one of our viewer, YC, he sent us this article, and yes, I agree with you. This is pretty interesting. So I'm just going to briefly summarize what this article is about. Actually, the article was very interesting. It started off in the first section talking about this very influential economist who predicted in the 1930s that in 2 generations, technology will have advanced so much that most of the work that is currently done by people will be done by automation, done by robots. And it will free up so much time that most people just need to do 3 hours of work a day. Now, fast forward to today, what's happening? It's more than 2 generations, probably 2 generations plus a bit. We're there already. But look at us. We have automations, we have more robots compared to 1930s, but we have less time than ever. Okay? We have more things to do, and we have less time. We are more struggling to get even free time for ourselves. What has happened? We don't know. It just seems like as technology advances, we just create more things for ourselves to do, and we just fill up our time. So it doesn't matter when the robots or technologies, automation does the other jobs. Somehow human beings will fill up the time with something else. We'll just create more things to do. So we are now busier than ever. So there was a study that was done, and now that was just the background, so don't focus on that. So there was a study that was done in 2017. Okay, this is the key part. That there was a study done in 2017, and based on some scientific evidence and sampling and data that was collected, the study actually found that it is possible for people to use money to buy some happiness. And how they do this is actually buying time. Basically, what it says is that people will farm up some jobs that they don't like to do and let other people do it so that they can free up time for themselves to do something else. And in that study, it found that by doing so, it is possible to use money to buy time, to buy happiness. So that's the gist of the article. Of course, there are some what do you call it? There are some conditions to certain things, because sometimes when you buy time to free up some time, in the end, it may not end up make you happier. Sometimes it can be more stressful. So there are certain conditions that need to be met. So anyway, I'm not sure who's with us now, but let me just open up to the rest of you guys, and what do you guys think?
What does Desmond think? Since Desmond is the, but I think he may be watching. He may be reading the article. So
Stop reading the article.
Then I should have posted the link.
Yes, yeah, this person. Oh, YC is here, the contributor of the article. Maybe ask YC. YC.
Yeah, YC, what do you think?
Hello. What do you think, YC? Share with us. He's going to. It's a disaster because he's going to need to type out like 10,000. Maybe we should ask him to join us on the live.
Yeah, maybe we should ask him to join us.
YC, you want to join us or not? If yes, you type a yes. If no, you also type a yes. And then we will send you the link. We will send you the StreamYard link. All you need to do is click on the link and your face will appear, and then you appear here, wherever. And then you can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. So, yeah.
Okay, he said okay.
It's okay. I guess whether yes is also okay, no is also okay, not much choice is okay.
Yeah, send me the link via WhatsApp.
Okay, while we're waiting for Yuan Chan to hook on, maybe one of you want to share what's your view on this?
I agree that okay, yeah. So I agree on the point about using about buying time. Okay, about buying time versus okay. So there's this saying we can use money to buy time. Okay, or use money to save time, or use time to save money. Yeah, you can use money to save time, or use time to save money. Okay, and to me, it is always for me it is it goes. It makes a lot more sense to use money to save time, because money you can always make back. You can always earn money again. But time, when it's gone, you can't have more of it. Okay, so if you want to have more time, then use money to buy time. Okay, and how do you do that? Okay, and there are lots of ways. And of course, in the article it talks about paying somebody else to do the things that you don't need to do, or don't want to do, or don't like to do. Essentially, when somebody else takes over and is paid to do that, then you have that excess time that you would have otherwise spent doing that thing. Okay, but after having said that as well, there are a lot of other ways to use money to save time. Okay, but before I talk about the other ways to use money to save time, hi, Yuan Chan.
Hello, Yuan Chan. It's like
here's where you talk about about this article that.
No, but wait, before that, why you look so skinny? Goodness me. Totally
I'm
not
always the
related to
skinny
the
one.
topic.
I'm always the skinny one.
Now I feel like punching you, but okay, never mind. Carry on with the article.
Actually, I'm
Yeah,
curious.
you-
What is it about this article that prompted you to share it with us?
I'm not sure actually, but I guess the journey of paying for time, or rather exchange money for time, concept only started when I agreed to my wife Kun Ling that we will get a helper to help out with the housework. Right. And because I mean, privacy is one thing, right? The other thing is the willingness to let go of what I know I can do well, and knowing that somebody may not be able to do as well as you do, but because of more important objective, you let somebody else do it.
You control freak!
I think Kunling also another one, right?
I mean, she's not as I think probably maybe not as severe as me, but she's very clear about what she wants, or rather, she's clear about what she wants. She understood the fact that if she doesn't let go, right, then she will not get the time that she wants to pursue what she wants to do herself. And then at that point in time, we had 3 kids already. Well, no, let me see, 2 kids. And of course, my mom was not feeling well, but that's besides the point, right? Because the helper will come back home with us after helping out my mom for the day itself. So it's I think firstly about letting, so that article sort of came to me as something that, hey, it's something which I've experienced. And so that was how I shared. Of course, there are other things that come along with it, right? But it's not something that we can talk about in one evening. It's like you have to go over a few coffee sessions.
So what did you gain from what changed? What changed? So that's before when you guys were doing all the work, right? And then you got a helper. So what changed for you guys pre and post helper?
Post helper will be to learn to live with somebody who is not a family member at home. I would say very close proximity, because we were staying in a HDB flat, right? And it's almost like you share the same kitchen with this person. You basically share the whole place, right? So it's to learn to live with somebody who is not a family member, and then a lot of things to learn there, right? Understanding the person's behavior, even tolerate the person's behavior, right? Because the person may brush the teeth differently, sit differently, eat differently. The most important thing is the person also wash the plate differently, stack the plate differently. The one can't see that I was still thinking.
So you had to so you had to adjust. But what were, if any, and I'm assuming there is, what were the positive consequences that came out of that decision?
We were able to spend more time with each other, spend more time with our children, right? Which is actually, you look back, right, it's really precious, and it's not something that money can buy, right? Even with your friends or your family members, the now is only now, it's gone, right? So if you don't have the chance to live that moment, right, it's just like time has passed, right? No matter how rich you are, how well off you are, you can be the Jeff Bezos in the world, you can never buy that time back, right? So that was what we gained. Yeah, of course, there are other things that we get, but I think this is something that's really important. I think that sort of opened up the window for me, at least for me, that there are things that I can actually pay, I can actually buy time, but I got to pre-buy in the sense that I got to pay for it upfront. It's not something that I can say that, okay, I want to buy some time that has already passed. So that this is very important, right? You got to pay forward, right? And the other. The other thing is that slowly, I think my children also understand that actually they can exchange cash for time. All right. And I guess for them to realize it at the young age is very important, right? And that helps them to realize that there's another lever they can pull that they can use on. Like, for example, there was this dinner where we had dinner at somewhere near 6th Avenue, and my daughter was in ACJC. Right. It was a Friday. The time it was, traffic is terrible at Bukit Timah area on Friday. That was before COVID. Right. So we decided to say that, okay, in order for us to be able to go there in time, she'll get a Grab. She'll get a Grab. And the Grab for the short journey is about $20. Right. Then later when she joined us at the dinner, she just realized something. She said, "Mommy, Papa, I just paid for time." I said, "That's right." All right. And I don't know how impactful this will be, but it's an aha moment for her, all right. I only realized it when I was in my late 30s or early 40s. I forgot when already. Right. So there are other things that came with it, which I think will be beneficial for my family and myself. Okay, enough said.
No. I have a question for you. I have a question for you now.
How come it becomes a session that you guys are interviewing me? You're supposed to share your
No. Just for you to think about is to write on this for you to think about, and maybe we can talk about this now. Your concern initially of paying somebody to to do all those housework for you is that there will be an extra person in your home, and you need to get used to this person. Now, technology has advanced so much that nowadays you actually don't need that extra person. Some of the things that I think most of us don't want to do every day is to sweep the floor, is to mop the floor. I mean, we now have robots that can, when it first came out, it's just to sweep the floor. You just go around and sweep the floor. Now you can even mop the floor. Okay, and then we have washing machines, and then we have washing machines and dryers. You just maybe have to move a little bit, but now you have a ironing and folding machine. You just have to transfer everything into that machine, and then you will dry it, and then after that you will fold it, and then everything is out already, all nicely done. Some of those major chores that most of us don't want to do actually is available by automation already. So have you considered all this, and then paying some money to do this so that you don't have to have that person around.
There are even appliances that cook meals for you.
Yeah.
I think so far we are not able to automate everything yet. All right. I guess the human touch is still I would say precious to us. Right. And yeah, we are, even with the helper around, we want to make her job easier by automation as well. All right. So we don't have a dryer per se, not the traditional kind of gas-fired dryer, but we have a cheap $100+ dryer from China. That actually helps her with drying of clothes when the weather is during rainy season. Right. So that helps her cut time and effort to do all the ironing. Right. And other kinds of automation, I think probably not as much as what you're saying. She's still mopping the floor. She's still sweeping the floor. And we haven't tested a what do you call that, a robot that can sweep and mop the floor. My impression is still that it's not that clean. So maybe one day I'll test it out. I don't know, when it's time for us to let go of a helper and be a bit more independent when the kids are older, we'll probably do that. And by then, I think the technology will be pretty good enough for me to satisfy me. I guess worst come to worst, I just wear sandals at home.
Maybe you can wash toilet by the time you're done.
What? Wash toilet? When I was very interesting.
So would you say your initial hesitation about having the additional person to get used to has been overridden by the positive consequences that you have experienced? That means it's been a worthwhile decision.
Yeah, and it's also like, again, looking back, right? I should have told myself, hey, test it out lah. You know, you haven't even tested out. How can you tell that you don't like it, right? I mean, with the helper kind of thing, really worst come to worst, you don't like the presence of another person at home, then terminate a contract lah. I mean, you looking money. But if that's what you need, that's what I need to do. I can do that, right? So I still have the option to sort of terminate a contract if I want to. Right, but I guess the key goes down to let's test it out, right? And so far, it has been quite a good experience. I mean, in the sense that for helpers, you know, all of us have our own stories for helpers. Whoever help us, right? We have our own stories as well. But we have actually probably changed more than helpers already. So far, the helper has been fantastic. The one that with us is fantastic. We love her. We treat her like one of our family members. I think the other side benefit that came along is that we also learn to be a bit more compassionate. Right, to learn about other people and other countries' culture, to understand the kind of fears, the kind of concerns of foreign workers who are working in Singapore, right? And on that, right, we try to help as much as possible, and especially during this period, right, my helper has not gone home for probably about 2 years. It's not easy, and she has a daughter, right? So some of these things that came along it's like recession, right? Then we'll have the opportunity to discuss with our children, you know, this is the situation people are in, that's what we do. And also along the way, there are other things that all of us can learn together as a family. Also, I think I still think it's very precious. So I'm glad Kun Ling actually sort of forced me to take that step then. Right. Anyway, so far she has been tested to be correct most of the time. Don't tell her.
You're alive now, don't tell her. This is going to be recorded and put in.
Are you just saying that for her to hear?
Of course lah.
She's watching right now, right?
Yeah.
Hey, come on lah. You guys know she knows, right?
The wife is always right.
So anyway, yeah, I think some of the things that Yuan Chuan talk about is especially for a couple that both are working and then they have to come home and still to deal with the kids and then they still have to handle the chores at home. Yeah, it will be a struggle if there's no another person that they engage in to help them out with the chores. It can be a struggle. So it will depend on whether that couple, all the family members between the kids are willing to divide the workload and handle stuff. Otherwise, it can be a lot of tension in the house. But I also know within the few of us here, we have a married couple who doesn't have a helper at home. Maybe we want to hear from her.
Yeah, it's me. Okay, are we done with Yuan Chuan or are we keeping him until like we are done with him?
Yeah, we keep him.
Keep him.
No.
Just saying, man.
It's so sad. He's like, he came out without knowing what he signed up for. He thought he would do like a spot appearance and after that suddenly kena stuck. Goodness me. It's like CSQ or Money and You like that, I think.
You can get off the screen.
Yeah, you put one finger in suddenly you go into a whole new world.
Any of us, any question, especially when Denise is speaking, you can ask anything you want.
Why especially me?
Yeah, so Denise, we
yes.
are waiting to hear from you.
Because I think partly also because we have no kids, you see. So that so it's 2 adults in the house, right? And we are both able-bodied. We are both responsible enough to take care of the house. As in we kind of split the chores lah. And because we have no kids, number one, there is a lot less things that we need to pick up after. Correct? A lot less cleaning we need to do. A lot less feeding we need to do also. And if let's say I'm not feeling well, he can take care of me. He's not feeling well, I can take care of him, vice versa. And we did recently buy a Xiaomi Robo Cleaner. So that's the one that can vacuum and mop. And I would say that of course, it really doesn't clean as well as a human does because of all the corners and all that. And you know, when you vacuum, you actually vacuum. I do lah, you know, like study table, all that, I've got a lot of hair and whatnot, right? But of course, you cannot put a robot cleaner on top of your study table, and then you will, I don't know whatever you will vacuum. So the thing is that it does save a lot of time on a daily basis, and then maybe every once a week, once every 2 weeks, you do a human deep cleaning kind of thing. So I think that one really saves us a lot of time. But yeah, lor, the work at home really not too much. I think because we are all both grown adults, and Wen Kai is those kind that will help out around the house also lah. So he does the chores and all that, and he doesn't just expect me to do it all. I will whack him on the head with a saucepan anyway. So like, why? We're both working, right? Okay, so yeah, so yes, so that's how we did it lah. But I think okay. But going back to that, right? We have been staying in this house for about three years plus before we actually decided to get the robo cleaner. We have only had it for about a few months. So at first we were very concerned, like, is it we spend this amount of time, spend this amount of money, is it actually worth the investment or not? And then we got it, and we realized that it is. So sometimes it's not just about spending money to buy time that makes us happier. But for me, it's not just about buying the time to do other things, but it's also about buying something that can help take a mental load off. So that was what was important for me. Like, I didn't have to think about it anymore. You know, I just, okay, then it frees it up and I feel a lot less stressed and all that. So I think that's what it is for me. Was that what you wanted to hear? Was that direction?
No, it was me. Junho asked a question.
Oh, Junho.
No, it's not what I wanted to hear. I just wanted to hear your point of view, that's all.
Oh, my point of view. I have many different point of view, but that's just one point of view.
Yeah.
Rachel, what have you got to say?
I think
Rachel used to have a helper, but now she doesn't have a helper. So
but
what was the
regardless of
difference?
helper, there are many things that she will spend on to buy time or convenience, I think.
Yeah, I want to share two things. So first is on the helper part. I used to have one, like what Junho mentioned, and now I don't have a helper. It is a great difference, whole world of difference for me, even though it's just me and my dad. And maybe it's very bad for me to say this, but the main role, because it's just me and my dad, and you know, we are quite independent. He goes out for lunch, so she doesn't really need to cook or do anything. But so her main job, her main role is actually to take care of my dad in a way to entertain him, to make sure he's, you know, eating, or, you know, mentally still engage him by bantering or whatever lah. So yeah, so that's her main role. So it's really a world of a difference for me when she's not around. Yeah.
So he has no entertainment now.
Yeah, so now you have to be the
TV
one that engages him with it.
And then now worse, right? Because of the heightened alert, cannot go down coffee shop and eat. So it's like every day.
Oh, but you know,
sleep.
You know what? The strange things you can take away from the coffee shop and go to the park and drink on your own there.
Yeah, can.
You know,
it's not about being outside. It's about, you know, being at the coffee shop, having people to talk to, having that
okay.
space, that community, that interaction, perhaps. Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah, so that's the part about the helper. Yeah, so that one for me is not really so much of buying time, but buying more of that mental load, like what Denise mentioned. And the second thing that I wanted to share, I agree with what Denise mentioned, because she said something about using money not so much to buy time, but to take off that mental load. For me, is using money to buy things that, you know, to get people to do things that I don't want to do. So it doesn't really matter whether I get time as a result out of it, but end of the day, what I'm going for is I want to get the results without doing the work that I don't want to do in the first place. For example, I'm not someone who really likes marketing. So in my own business, I actually got somebody to do it for me. And I'm very, very happy with that. I'm happy to pay her because she's doing a great job. and I don't have to do it. Yeah. So I don't necessarily get time out of it, but I get the results I'm looking for, which is good.
So it seems kind of like the more you dislike the task, the more you're willing to pay for it to be done.
Yes.
by
Yes,
somebody
I'll
else.
find ways not to do it, or I'll find ways to outsource it.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So directly or indirectly, using money to buy happiness, either by offloading things that you don't like to do, or in Yuan Chuan's case, offloading things that he actually wanted to be in control of doing, in order to then indirectly get more time, which then resulted in other things happening. Okay, so either way, money is actually buying happiness. Is it fair to say?
To a certain degree, I think so. Yes.
Yeah,
I think
to a certain degree.
my opinion is that it depends on the solution that that a person has gotten. Like for us, it took us a long time to get the so-called happiness because there were helpers who didn't really like to work in Singapore. They want to work here because they are forced to. So that solution that wasn't a good match, right? So yes, we have somebody offloading our load, but the thing is that the happiness element wasn't there. You just don't sense that a person is happy working for us, right? Then the kind of emotions sort of affected us as well. Right, so people may have to go through a series of trials and error to get the ultimate happiness that they want. Right, I think all of us also happen, right? When we test certain alternatives, right? Even for machines, right? You may say that okay, maybe there are, let's say, 3 models of machine, and one is 1,000, the best is 10,000. Some people may straight away choose the best one and get the ultimate happiness because it performs super well. But people who are a bit more economic like me may choose something that's 10,000 and say, I test with a cheaper one first and see what happens. But I don't get the kind of happiness that I want. Then I scale out and say, okay, fine, never mind. Let's go and get the 10,000, right? So it's also a process. It doesn't mean that you will get the happiness straight away. All right, it's also a search journey to find out exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, but having said that, everybody is different, and happiness baseline for every individual is going to be different. Some people has a higher happiness baseline, so they need to reach to a certain level before they're happy. But some people have a very low happiness baseline. So even if it's like a simple machine, a drip coffee machine that just do drip every morning, got coffee, simple, easy, can already. Some people must need a certain machine that come out with that quality coffee with aroma, yum, see? So it's a different kind of baseline. So it depends. Okay, different strokes for different folks. Okay.
I think it also depends on what thing you're talking about. Some people, they are very concerned about food and drinks or coffee. Some people are very concerned about cleanliness. You know what I mean? So like Juno was saying, different strokes for different people, and also it also depends on whether you are clear about what is the intended outcome that you want from actually putting this investment in, and does it actually match whatever that you put in, basically. Like if let's say Rachel hates to do something, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 means you kill her, she also won't do. If she hates something like at number 8, maybe she will pay a lot to get it done. But if she hates something like number 1, if I ask her to pay the same amount, she'll probably like, never mind, I just do myself lah.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
Actually, come to think of it, right? This thing about using money to exchange for time to get happiness, right? Unknowingly, we are doing it almost every second of it. Because now, come to think of it, right? Why do I want to go downstairs or go to a nearby coffee shop and get a coffee when I have a coffee machine at home, for example, right? Because you're looking for something that you cannot get at home, and what do? You use money to get it, you pay for it. So I think, come to think of it, it is. I mean, we don't need to associate things which are huge, right? Even small, minute activities, right? We are essentially exchanging time for money. Rather exchanging money for time. Sorry.
Like all the delivery apps, basically. People do Grab food, Deliveroo, Food Panda. Basically, these are the people who come home and then they just don't have time to cook a meal, because if they come home and they sit to cook a meal and eat and all the stuff, it will cost them a lot of time, and then they don't have enough. After that, they have to clean the dishes and all the stuff. So they just pay somebody to go and buy on some place and then bring it to the house and then eat and then throw away the things.
So we're actually paying for convenience.
Yeah,
Yes.
some is time, some is convenience, some is effort, some is mental load. But just now
Yes.
Douglas asked,
Yeah, Denise, you go first.
no, Douglas was saying that so in essence, right, the question is asking does buying time make a best person happier, but the bigger question is then can we then use money to buy happiness? Then we, in a roundabout way, I would say yes, but this is something that came to me when Douglas was asking that, and we were all answering yes in a way. Money can buy happiness. The thing that struck me was that a lot of people don't make that distinction. You see, they don't understand. You see, a lot of people, they are working very hard to get money. They exchange their time for money, right? Usually as an employee, you exchange your time for money, right? Then and everybody is like scrambling so hard to get money, but they don't. Sometimes I feel like there is no distinction about why they actually want that money. What is it at the end point that they want? It's not what money, right? It's the happiness that we can get through money, whether it's by buying time, buying convenience, buying other people, buying a hitman to assassinate somebody in hate or whatever, or a baby on a black.
Why are you talking about him, man?
I'm watching some very tough novels right now about FBI and assassination, so that just came to mind. But okay, that's not what I'm advocating. Okay, so but whatever it is, whether you are spending money outside for that social interaction, or whatever, the money is a medium. Wow, now we turn upside down. He becomes Spider-Man. It's a medium, so that was the thing that struck me. And I think a lot of people don't draw that distinction.
So the thing that I want to add on to what Denise just shared is so Denise said that so a lot of people are working very hard to earn money, okay, and then but without being very clear about so you earn money, exchanging time for money, and then they're not very clear about what the money is going to what they want to use the money for. Okay, so I'll take this to another level where so for people who are, and that's all of us, we are trading. If we have some form of economic activity, okay, unless the only exceptions are the people who are sitting on piles of cash that are already there, that they don't have to do anything to get. Okay, but for all the rest of us who have some form of economic activity that then translates into cash, we have what I call per unit time value. That means for every unit of time that we have, it translates to a certain dollar value. Okay, so it could be so some people you take your pay over for a month, and then you divide by the number of hours that you work, so that is the value of that time. Okay, and then it ranges, okay, whatever that value per unit time is. And then the thing is for that unit of time that we have. So let's say my hour is $15. It's worth $15, and then if I'm going to do something, instead of spending that 1 hour to generate $15, I'm going to use that 1 hour to do something else. Then what is that value of that something else? Okay, is it going to give me more than $15, or is it going to deplete my $15? You guys understand what I'm saying, right? And a lot of people think that way. Okay, and one of the examples I will talk about really is owning a car and driving. Okay, a lot of people spend okay, when we were commuting, when they were pre-COVID, when commuting to work, typically spend 2 hours a day traveling to work and coming back from work, right? And then I asked them, if you think about it, what's the value of that 2 hours? Okay, and there was once, so I drive, and there was once my car was being serviced, and I had to take public transport to the office. And what is typically a 15-minute drive was a 1.5 hour public transport commute. Yeah, so it was $1.50 of whatever the fare I was paying. But I lost 1.5 hours on a 2 journey, and then another 1.5 hours on a. Okay, so it became a 3 hours expense versus a typical half an hour.
Bye,
We
Yuan
lost Yuan Chuan.
I think he decided to leave.
Yeah.
It's either his network or his power, maybe.
We abducted him for so long now.
So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes, 3 hours, 3 hours plus
just
$4.
thinking, I just lost 2 hours that day.
3.
Okay, was it? Yeah, no,
3.
okay.
You said 1.5, 1.5.
1.5. Okay, 1.5. So 3 hours versus 30 minutes. So I lost 2.5 hours that day, and it was one day. And I cannot imagine. Okay, if I had to do that every day in 1 week, I lose 2.5 times 5 days. Okay,
so what happened? So you felt grumpier and unhappy that day.
yeah, and then I felt grumpier. Okay, getting to the office, I felt grumpier because it was hot and I had to change buses and it was
And
such
wait
a
around and stand around.
okay. So I cannot imagine. Okay, the cost. So that time, so that 12.5 hours a week is time I can never get back.
Well,
Versus
where-
paying for a car.
well, now wait. That's where the other things, the conveniences come about. That comes with people that commute. There's a whole suite of businesses that cater to people who commute,
Yeah.
and they are all on your handphone. And that's why people read when they are commuting. They watch, they stream shows, they do all these things. While they use that
I
time to
agree,
do all
I
these other
agree,
things
but
that they
all
normally
those
would do anywhere at home.
No, Juno. So all those things I never do anyway. Okay, like watch a show. Okay, I felt that watching shows is a bloody waste of time because
Read a book.
I don't. There's no output. There's no output that I generate, and the things that I want to do. Okay, I may not be speaking for everyone. The things that I want to do, I cannot do in the 2-hour commute, the 2-hour access commute. Okay, that things
So that's for you, lah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's for me, and that's why I felt wow, I lost so much time. And you asked me to read or to okay, I don't typically do that in that way, or to watch a show. That's a waste of time. So I'm spending even more time on other things that I don't usually do anyway, and I can't get that time back to do the things that I actually want to do or need to do. Okay, which to me equals to economic output. So that was the thing that came to me and said, wow, how do people do this? Okay, I agree that can be entertainment. You watch your Korean drama and all that, be entertained. Okay, but it doesn't generate economic output.
I think a lot of people who do that, who are able to do that daily, right? They tie, okay, because they're still stuck in that space where only when I am working, then I'm earning money. So, because for you, right, you are in a space where every hour you can generate something, whether it's in terms of revenue or maybe making your food or whatever it is, But
Yeah,
for that person,
I can't make my donuts on the bus.
yes, if you can, maybe you wouldn't mind. Like, oh, let's just do it anyway.
Okay,
But-
so So it's typical to people like Douglas that need that time to physically be somewhere to generate an output. But for certain people, it's a little bit different. So maybe Denise, you can go on first.
Okay, so anyway, what I was trying to say is that for some people, okay, so the things that Chun Ho was saying, whether it is watching shows, reading, etc., there are people who do that already as kind of like to switch off, let their mind relax, whatever it is they are doing that. So they use that time. The second thing, I think they rate their hourly value very low. You get what I mean? Like I am only the amount of what's that? The amount of no, this is the points that I see lah, but it's also different for everybody. I don't know. If you are watching this and you have a different point of view, just put it in the comment below. But anyway, these are the points I can see. I'm very sure there are other reasons why these people are able to endure this day after day. For some, even they don't even think that there is any other option possible. They just think that this is what everybody else is doing. Therefore, I should do. Then okay lor, sian lor, but just do lor, something like that.
And there are people like me who's from Mars, who is also a data collector, who use this time to data collect. So what I read is information that I attain. What I see people who watch people on the train go by, the pedestrians, the people that go up and down. These are information and data that I gather. If I watch a show, it is information that I can gather about what's going on.
No, so you can translate that, so you can convert that time into things that make sense to you. I cannot.
Yeah. He cannot. So it's for different people.
And but the thing is, if you want to talk about that, yeah. So if you are able to convert that time that you commute, okay, to collecting data, because that's what you need to do, okay. But the truth is, how many other people, or what's the proportion of the population who are commuting, okay, who are also utilizing that time in a productive manner, okay, that creates a positive gain
for them lah, whatever it is lah.
Yeah, versus something that that 2 hours is gone, and nothing resulted out of that. It's just
something they have to do.
Actually, another point of view, now that we're all working from home, or most people are working from home, is that a lot of people miss that commuting time, because especially after work, because that's the time that they take to wind down from work and create that separation between work and personal life.
Especially if you have kids.
There's a totally different conversation about if you need to wind down from your work, then there's something wrong that's not working at work that you need to actually wind down from. Okay, but another conversation.
But what we're talking about is they're taking that chance during that transport, during that period of time to wind down, which is
but Douglas, because you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, I can understand every single minute of your time is key. But for employees, it's a little bit different. Their productive hour is from this time to this time. After that, is their own time, and then they can do whatever they want.
I'm not saying okay. So here's where I'm drawing a distinction. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so if there is an attitude or a mindset about the time that I spend working is when I generate income. Okay, and the time that is my own time. I don't need to generate anything, and that's where my question is. Then you're not doing it yourself. So you only spend time working for somebody else and get paid in return, and your own time, which is so precious, when you could actually be generating something for yourself, and you're not. And you're actually letting that be expense instead, and just depending on the time that you're giving to somebody else for that income. And that's wacky to me. That's
maybe
mind around that.
Maybe we should hear from the employees. We have a guest employee in the house.
We have 2 employees here today. Yay! Okay, this is not what how should I put it? I think at the end of the day, it depends very much on whether you are happy where you are or not. If you're perfectly happy doing 9 to 5, maybe not 100% happy, maybe 90% of the time you're okay or happy with it. Okay, honestly, life is never 100% happy, okay? So if you're 90% of the time happy with your job, going to work, chatting with your colleagues, and then you come home, you shake your leg, you're happy, then I think it's perfectly fine, honestly, because that's your choice, right? But if you are unhappy about it, unhappy about the lifestyle that you're having, a lot of the time a lot of people, okay, I think this is a bit similar to what we were talking about previously, short-term gains versus long-term gains. So a lot of people are very focused on the short-term gains right now. So for example, I come home, I'm very tired from work. Instead of thinking, what can I do today so that I'm not tired from work 2 years later or 3 years later, it's a long-term gain, right? They're thinking about what can I do right now so I stop feeling tired right now. So they have decided to, like you say, expense, it's an exchange, and they have decided to they have decided to exchange the long-term gain for the short-term gain.
So the seed for 2 years later doesn't get planted.
Ever?
Yeah, so it's just like the conversation we had before about how do you make $1 million in 13 years, right?
Correct.
Planting today, and then you can say, no, I want to relax, and I want to that $1,000 which that will give me $1 million and retire it in 13 years. I want to spend it on something that gives me pleasure right now, instant gratification. Okay, and then it goes on month after month after month. Then instead of being able to retire in 13 years, okay, they never retire for the next 30 years.
Yeah, but it's a choice, you see. So I feel like if let's say the person is willing to bear the consequences, then okay. But I'm a bit different from Douglas in the sense I don't like people who, we all complain about work sometimes because like I say life is never perfect, and if you are working, then work is part of life, correct? But if let's say you're consistently unhappy, consistently stressed, consistently upset, consistently complaining about it, then you do something about it lah. You don't sit there, don't do anything about it, and then you complain. Then my husband one guy is a maximizer maniac. So maximizer maniac / economically driven. So he's always asking me like, after why don't I do something to generate income, etc., right? But sometimes I have also asked myself that question. Sometimes I also beat myself up about it. Why am I not driven? Why do I not? I understand this logic. I've been mixing around with you guys for like 10,000 years. Why do I still? I understand, but then after that, I have quite recently come to the conclusion that it's because I am happy with my current lifestyle, honestly. I am not, I would say 90% of the time happy. 95, because now I'm working from home, 95% of the time happy. 5% of the time is when the husband doesn't wash dishes, maybe, so that's okay. But otherwise, I'm happy, and to be honest, because I've been at the company for quite a while, so when you are at somewhere for a while, you can do things easily because you already know who to go to, what to do, stuff like that. But recently there are some things so yeah. So the unhappiness meter is rising. When it gets to a point where
so ultimately it boils down to happiness baseline. And
correct.
What define as happiness.
Like what you said earlier, Douglas, positive output for that person, whoever it is.
Yeah, and also boils down to what the person wants at the end of the day. Because if you are happy being this lifestyle and you can continue having this lifestyle for many, many years, then you don't see a need to change. But if you're unhappy where you are and you feel that, like me, when I started working after 1 year, I said, no, I'm not going to be like all the people there to work and just to pay off that mortgage and pay off the house and then be slave to the house. No, I'm going to be slave to my house. I want the house to work for me, not I work for the house. So I am going to get out and then have enough money. Anytime can pay for the mortgage, anytime can pay over the loan. But whatever it is, I am not being held hostage to my house. Means no matter the day I don't have an income, the day I lose my job, I'll be panicking and worried that I don't have a house to stay. No, I'm not going to have that. So it depends on what you want. So if you're happy and then where you are, that's fine.
Are we doing last words now?
Oh, Yan Chuan can do
I
last
did not
words
catch
today.
any of that. So
I'm not doing last word. No,
No, those
just
are not last words.
give
Those
my
are just
view.
the
Last words.
info collector coming out with new info. I mean,
Okay, but you can do last words now if you want.
yeah,
Okay,
I think last words now. Yan Chuan, you want to do last words? Do you know what last words are, by the way?
I don't know typically what your guys
No, whatever,
say.
whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
last words are
Whatever. Not the words you say before you go to another realm. Not those things.
Okay, so basically, maybe I give a bit of context. Last word is kind of like a sum up of the final thoughts before you final thoughts you want to share with the audience or on live about today's discussion session or what came up for you. Like a mini summary, I guess.
Yeah. I think we need to always be in the state of trying to find out how we can get as much time back as possible. Right. I think, like it or not, time is something that nobody has been really able. Okay, we can use money to buy time now, but the thing is, it's how do I put it? Okay, maybe put it another way, right? Try to be in control of your own time as much as possible, right? Because time is only now, and if you're not even willing to spend a cent to get back a second, right? Then I think it's very sad. I think we need to continue evaluate to see that what are the things that we can either automate to sub out, so that we can take back some of this time. And I think by doing that, right, we are actually gaining productivity, right? And if all of us do that, right, I think something good will come out of it, right? It can mean that there are new machines there that can replace people's job, can help me stack plates nicely the way I want it, things like that. So yeah, something I need to remind myself, right? Because most of us, including myself, I tend to once you reach a certain state, right? I mean, it's like comfort zone, right? You tend to just cruise, right? But cruising actually, at the end of the day, means that you're actually getting less and less productive, right? Right. Because you can actually do the same thing shorter, but you're not, all right? So relatively, you're actually getting less productive. So I think just is a reminder for myself to need to constantly think about ways to be more productive in life. Is that considered a last word?
That's a last paragraph. Poor Rachel.
That's very long last words. Usually we sum it up in 3 sentences or less.
No, Rachel will sum it up for us, you mean?
Because I remind you next time, okay? 3 sentences.
But it's okay. YC is the guest that we
Version
abducted.
1. This is my version 1.
Yeah, we virtually abducted him, so.
Chunho or
Chunho.
Denise?
No, Chunho, we can go.
Yeah, I think it is possible to use money to buy some happiness, and it's really in buying time by getting somebody else to do the work for you, that things that you don't enjoy. And when they free up time, make sure that you're actually doing things that you enjoy. You don't go and buy time and then do things that you don't enjoy. Then it wouldn't buy you happiness. I don't know who will do that, but there are some people who does that. So in a way, it is not absolutely a fact that money cannot buy you happiness. It can. There are some ways to do it. Okay. So this is with regards to this topic, yeah. It is possible.
Okay. Douglas, you want to go?
Yeah, 3 sentences or less. The first sentence is know the value of your per unit time. Okay, then choose or design what you're going to do with that per unit time. Okay, and at the end of it, okay, design the outcome that you want from that per unit time. 3 sentences.
Mine is actually going to not be 3 sentences only. Okay, no, but 2 main points. First thing I learned is that that struck me, okay, was that money can buy you happiness. Maybe not the forever blissfully enjoy kind, but short-term happiness definitely can. Just be clear about what you're spending the money on. So that's one. The second thing I want to say is that after you are clear about what makes you happy, right? Don't be ashamed if it has nothing to do with monetary gains, or because a lot of people measure things in life or success in life or happiness in life by money or revenue. There's a number tied to it. If you are not somebody like that, then don't be ashamed to say that no, spending money on this thing makes me happy because it's like that, even though it doesn't bring me money or whatever other thing that, you know. So that was what came up for me. I'm not driven like that, but there's the money the way people put a value, a monetary value on happiness is a conversation that's consistently ongoing around everybody. So if you are different and you're differently motivated or driven, then it's fine. It's okay. All's good. And you can, should we plug CSQ tomorrow or not this Saturday? Because this is where they're going to learn about the motivators, right? Okay, okay, that's my last words lah. Douglas, you decide you want to plug it.
Don't need to plug it now.
Don't need to plug it now. Okay, we plug it later or whenever. Okay, thanks. That's my last words. Rachel, you want to go?
Okay, so for me, my last words is to be very clear about what makes you happy. And then know that money is just a tool. If money can get you things that makes you happy, be it time or anything else, or be time or take away mental stress, or create something else for you, just do it if it works. Yeah. No point hoarding the money because you can't bring it away with you. I can't bring it away with me when I cross the road, so.
No, but then you can take the testosterone thing and feed the car.
Rachel, don't cross the road.
Yeah, Rachel, don't cross the road.
Not cross the road.
This sounds like a title for a song. Rachel, don't cross the road.
Oh, okay.
Okay, those are our last words. Oh, faster get ready the song disaster. Okay. See lah. Okay. Thanks, guys. So hang in there for what is this? Phase 2 heightened alert. Is it what? I don't know.
Yes, phase 2. Still phase 2.
Puke blood. But anyway, I just got my second shot on Sunday.
Maybe in 2 weeks' time, some restrictions will be eased. So
yeah, for those fully vaccinated. So just go and get your vaccination, okay, please. If you're eligible, go and just get it, okay. Anyway, so that aside, just hang in there, people. Join us 2 weeks later and have lots of fun together. Maybe we'll abduct somebody else off the virtual streets. Okay, thanks, guys. See you guys 2 weeks later. Bye. Oh no, the song's not playing. What a disaster.
where's the song?